Hi, everyone. Dr. Tom Schiller here, and welcome back to the Evo Code. Today, I want to talk about what we usually call obesity, but I'm going to use a different, more useful word, overweight. Because for many people, the word obesity feels judgmental or discouraging, and medically, it also misses the point. Being overweight really isn't a disease. It's a visible symptom of metabolism that has gone off track. If we look at overweight, not just obesity, the numbers are striking. About 70% of adults now fall into the overweight category, defined as a BMI above the 85th percentile or a BMI of 25 or higher. When most populations shares the same physical pattern, we're not looking at individual failure. We're looking at biology responding to modern signals. Here's a concept that changes how we think about weight. Fat is not just for winter storage. Fat is designed to be our primary moment-to-moment fuel source. For most of human history, we ran largely on fat between meals, overnight, during long periods of movement. Glucose was short-term fuel. Fat was the baseline energy system. So gaining fat isn't the core problem. The real problem is being unable to burn it. Fat tissue is very good at its job, up to a point. For most adults, fat cells can safely store roughly 15 to 20 pounds of excess energy. Beyond that, fat cells become overfilled, inflammation increases, insulin resistance develops, and fat starts spilling into organs like liver and muscle. That's when metabolism begins to break down, not because the body is lazy, but because it's stuck in storage mode. This is the key distinction. The body has two basic ways to store extra fat. First is safer storage. In this pattern, the body responds to extra energy by creating new fat cells. Those new fat cells are less stressed, better supplied, more insulin sensitive, and better at keeping fat out of organs. This is the biology behind what people sometimes call metabolically healthy overweight. The second is stressed storage, much more common. Here, instead of making new fat cells, the body keeps overfilling existing ones. Those fat cells become inflamed, insulin resistant, leaky. About 85% of adults store extra fat this way. This is when overweight becomes metabolically dangerous. Now, an important nuance. While the scale alone is misleading, fat distribution matters a lot. There's a big difference between visceral fat, which is deep belly fat around the organs, and subcutaneous fat, fat under the skin, especially hips and thighs. Visceral fat is more inflammatory, more insulin resistant, more strongly linked to diabetes, heart disease, fatty liver, and much more. That's why belly fat matters, even if total weight isn't extreme. A simple, useful clue is the waist to hip ratio. A larger waist relative to hips usually means more visceral fat and often higher risk than BMI alone. If you want to know whether extra weight is benign or harmful, labs tell the story. Here are my favorite Evo line targets. Fasting insulin, ideally under 5. High insulin locks fat away and blocks fat burning. Triglyceride to HDL ratio, less than 2, a strong reflection of insulin sensitivity. SGPT, also known as ALT, ideally under 10, an early warning sign of fatty liver stress. CRP, a marker of inflammation, often driven by visceral fat. Thyroid function test, because thyroid signaling strongly influences metabolic rate and insulin sensitivity. Together, these help distinguish safe fat storage from metabolic stress. A quick word on GLP-1 medications in bariatric surgery. They work mainly because they reduce food intake, lower insulin exposure, and force fat loss. That can be helpful and sometimes life-saving, but they don't fix the underlying metabolic signaling problem. They manage the symptom, not the cause. And they carry real risks: muscle loss, nutrient deficiencies, GI side effects, and often weight regain if signals aren't fixed. They can be tools, but they are not a foundation of metabolic health. Here's the hopeful part. When insulin levels are kept low, the body remembers what it's designed to do: burn fat between meals, unload excess energy, reduce inflammation, restore metabolic flexibility. That's why the Evo approach focuses on removing sugar and refined carbs, eliminating seed oils, prioritizing protein and whole food fats, muscle building, and using meal timing and fasting appropriately. The goal isn't chasing numbers on the scale. It's restoring fuel access. Being overweight isn't a disease. It's a signal that the body is storing fuel it can't properly use. Don't ask, what does the scale say? Ask, where is fat stored, and can my body burn it again? Because when insulin comes down, fat becomes fuel again, and metabolic health follows, often faster than expected. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next Evo Code episode.